Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 109 of my modded Factorio playthrough. So in the last episode, I talked about building a bunch of rails. And before we get to that, as always, there's always a couple of fixes I find in the factory, so let's take care of those. Although, let me check to see what we have researched. Do we have the construction trains? Just want to make sure, because we're going to need those. It looks like we do. Yes. Okay. Because we're going to need those. Those are important. Hey, we could build boat tracks without it, but having a train makes things a lot easier when you're building rails specifically. So right here, a viewer pointed out that these poles are not quite in the right spot. And that's true. Those ones in the middle are getting skipped, so we need to change these pole placements here to be a little more often. Looks like it needs to be... Yeah, see, that's the problem I ran into before. It needs to be every 2. And remove the wires. Okay, that should be good. Another thing related to power is, never really got around to fixing it, but up here we're having problems where these panels weren't lasting the whole night. And actually it's getting close to night and they're not even charged. They're going to run out again. So what I figured is all these calculations were based on one radar. But there's actually 2 here. There's one up here and then one down here, I think, because I just couldn't get coverage. But instead of having 2, we can put it like somewhere in the middle. I was thinking before not put it in the middle because it might get in the way of this mining. But then it wasn't really relevant because we were going to use a different patch, this one down here, which is bigger. So it's going to be a bit of a drive to go up there, but it'll be worth fixing. The biters, I have a mod that makes biters attack at night. Of course, I have all these different biter mods, so I don't quite remember which one does that. But maybe subtitle at the bottom for what it is. But it basically, the biters usually only attack at night, or somewhere around there, so having the power run out at night would be bad. Because the turrets need power to be loaded with ammo. Let's pick up that radar and move it down a bit here. Just place it in the snow. Right about... There we go. Obligatory lights. So there we go. One radar covers the whole wall. And it's using a little bit less power now. See, there's not a whole lot left over for the accumulators, so the accumulators were only getting about half of their total charge if we had too many radars. So presumably that means this accumulator charge would be twice as much. So yeah, I don't know, it still might not be quite enough, but we'll have to check, not in the morning because it's going to run out, but the next morning we'll have to see if there's still power in the batteries. So one other thing we can take care of, we've got this flashing light here because of all the way down here because of these missing accumulators from that roaming biter attack. And not that we really need them, because it looks like we have enough accumulators there, but the flashing is annoying. We could maybe save it until we get down there, or building rails, but it'll be a bit of a drive, and I'll just drive down there real quick, just to get rid of the flashing. It might make building the rails a little easier when we're not seeing the flashing, and wondering if that's related to our current building project or something else. Because we might run out of materials and not realize it if we're just used to seeing that flashing there and don't give it a second thought. Finally made it. It's nighttime now. It looks like the robots are jumping out to take care of business, but can just do this by hand here. Also, how are we doing on repair packs, since a lot of repairing has occurred here? It seems like we're doing mostly okay, but it would be nice to fill them up if we have the resources for it. Kind of. Just throw them in there. Oh, looks like we had some extras anyway. Close enough. Okay, and those will get charged in the morning, so no big deal there. I think that's it for the factory changes. There's just some blueprints we can modify that I noticed. It's not critical that we do them. It might be faster if we modified them as we were building them. But I don't want to forget that there's some changes that we can do, and then build a whole bunch of rails without the fix. So let's drive back to the factory so we can get some supplies, and because we're gonna have to build the pattern with the robots to make a modification and then to change it. So we'll have to go back to the base for that. Let's build some plans here. Let's work on the loading station. Of course, we're going to be short all manners of things, and that's okay. Just kind of pick up what we need here. Okay, that should be everything. Let's just hook it up with power so we can kind of see what's going on here. Okay. So there's a couple things we can do here. One thing I noticed is I have these power poles all the way out on the edge here. So if we placed a second pattern, the pole would be right here. But that's not the maximum distance they could be. You could actually put the poles right there. And why does that matter? Well, because we're actually going to be driving around the base. We're going to be finding our way going through train stations, because there's going to be train stations right next to each other. So by moving these poles out slightly farther, it just gives us a little bigger of a hole to drive through with the truck. Because if you look at it, these inserters are kind of the thing sticking out the most. So if we had the pole right here, then the pole would stick out more than it has to. So it's kind of not necessary for it to be sticking out all the way on the end there. That's kind of the way I looked at it. Looks like lights are in a good spot. And we only need that pole placement on one end, so we don't need it up there. That's pretty good. Okay, so that fixes the loading blueprint. But there's some more blueprints we can do here. I was thinking at the time, well, we'll just place down steel chests when we need them. But if I recall, it's a little annoying to place down. I wonder if the upgrade planner will do that. Let's see. I'll just carefully do it right here. So, wooden chest to steel. Can we replace them without it messing up the wires? It looks like it works okay. But nonetheless, it would be annoying to calculate, like when we're calculating how many of each type of station we need. We might make major errors about the number of chests and stuff, so let's just make that change right here and just make it a separate station. It kind of makes the book a little unwieldy, but that's okay. Oh, we need more chests. There we go. Make sure each one of those has that little panel on the side of it showing it's connected to the network. They look like they are. So with this, we have a new loading station we can save. Just take that and get rid of it. And let's do a picture of a steel chest this time to differentiate it. So basically the difference between a steel chest type of loading station and a wooden chest is the steel chest station are the kind that don't have limitations on the chest. And actually, now that I'm thinking about that, I probably should remove these limitations here. Basically, it's a byproduct. It's a station where it's picking up something that we're making, but that's... Oops. We're picking up something that we're making, but that's not the point of what we're doing with that station. So like with crushed stone, for example, we don't want the factory to stop just because all the chests are full. We want to take as much crushed stone as we can because we're not making crushed stone. That's not the point. It's a byproduct. So whenever we're doing with the station with byproducts, we want to have big chests with no limit on capacity. Compared to a product that we are creating, that we want, we'll have limited chests that are the wooden type. So looks like we need to update this again here. Now we need to do the same thing for the unload station. So I'll pick all that up. There's the unload station. Plop it in the same exact spot. Let the robots do their thing. I don't know, we might remove these extra blueprints if clicking through the blueprint book is a little too cumbersome by having these multiple station types. Or just make a separate book just for train stations. So let's make the power pole change. Oh, not quite. Some underground belts weren't there. Oh, it's like, was that not included on the previous design? It's like, well, this design actually uses a lot more underground belts than the other one does, so that's why we needed more. So that is the fixed unload station, so let's recreate that. And let's replace all these things again. That should be good for that, so make another copy of that blueprint. Alright, we've got our 2 extras, so we can go in the blueprint book and kind of plop it somewhere where it looks like it belongs. Something like that. Yeah, the book is getting pretty full. Okay, and so let the robots pick all that up. Another modification for plans we can do are these liquid stations. You notice that when I'm changing between the designs, not all the pumps are switching back and forth because one of the designs didn't have the pumps being in the correct locations. Or the correct directions, anyway. I believe it's this one. The unload. So this is an unload station, so all of the arrows need to be pointed away from the track. So you see how some of them are not quite in the right direction. And all those need to be pointed away and down. It look like it, so away and down, away and down, away and down. Okay. And also there's kind of way too many lights. Because I think we alternated, we both alternated and skipped our light placement on the previous design, the design with the solid goods, so I believe it would be... It's also, they're not quite placed right either, they're kind of offset. So, like over here, and then skip that one and then place it right there. Maybe something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if they're exactly even or not, but I don't think a design like this could ever be exactly even. Just have to go with that. See what it looks like later and make a change. Now for consistency, I'm wondering if I can remove these lights and just place the pattern down and have it put the lights where they were on the other design. Okay, looks like it. Yay for consistency. So are all these pointed in the correct direction? You should all be pointed in. They are. So up and in, up and in. Up and in, up and in. Up and in. Okay. Yeah. Because I had to change that design to reverse it so all those ones are pointed in the correct direction. Last thing we need to do is make a small modification to our standard rail. Because what we can do is later on in the factory we're going to need circuit networks to tell trains when to leave. So instead of having to run down and putting signal wires on every single power pole where we need to go, if we put them down on the design, they will stay there. Like that. And the roundabout, it's not going to work because there's only one power pole there. So, and since the roundabout doesn't directly connect with the other plans, we're going to have to wire up every roundabout anyway, manually. So that's just something we're going to have to remember. There's no real way around that other than making the roundabout design substantially more complicated than it has to be. Just to make placing wires a little easier. It seems kind of overkill to do that. And with that, that fixes all of the changes we needed. Now we need to build some tracks. Lots and lots of tracks. Let's see. Well, we might as well pick up all of the extras out of here so we know what we're working with. And all of those belts probably need to be in there anyway. I'm trying to think. I don't exactly remember why there's so many lamps in there. If we needed them for something, or are we just carrying them around? But, oh well. I know we definitely need the mining drills, and we definitely need the belts, so let's put all that in there. So now we know what we're working with here. So, there are a couple things we could plan. So what we're essentially going to do, so I'm going to build a little mini train station right here just for convenience. Then we're going to run rails out to here, hook that up, hook it up to power, make sure it works, and fix the problems. And then it looks like, I mean, we could go up right here and then kind of come over here, or we could go down over here and hook up. Or do both and make a big square so trains have a choice about where they can go. It might make more sense to go down. We're going to have a bit of a zigzag, because with the bridges we can build over water so we're not taking up our land, but we don't want to get so close that the biters can attack. And then probably zip our way over here. And then pick up. And then zip our way up. Although the exact positioning is kind of relevant, because I was planning on building my first mega base component kind of right here, since that's a nice big section of land. Well, we'll just play it by ear. We'll start here, work our way around, and make modifications as necessary. But ultimately, if we do place them here, which we probably will, we're going to need a total of 6 train stations. And actually, it would be 7 stations, because we're also going to be needing to deliver fuel. So that'll be 7 stations, and it'll be the unload station with wooden crates. So this one right here. So 234 times 7 is 1638. That's in addition to what we already have in there. Looks like we're already pretty good there. Yeah, we have lots, so we're okay. We'll pick it up later. So we're just waiting on the inserters and the undergrounds, and the undergrounds are basically done here. Let's close that off again so it's not making too many of them. They are iron intensive. How are we doing on our 1K of these? Almost. We are running a little low on gibbelite, so that's something we'll have to take care of. Might as well do it now while we're waiting. It's morning time. Might be a little too late to check up over here, but it's hard to say if they lasted the night. Seems like they might have. Any empty miners? Just in case the math was wrong, we have some extras. Kind of running a little low on sapphirite as well. Could probably afford to leave it for a while. Another thing that might be nice to take with us is some landfill. Don't know how much we should bring. All of it seems a little excessive for now, but let's just throw 10 stacks in there. Just lock that off, I guess. Okay. That does it for the train stations. We just need the components for the rails, and that's pretty straightforward, so let's get our little mini station set up here. We need lots and lots of rail. That's the design we're going to be using a ton of. Let's do like 4 stacks of each of the smaller things. And then we can figure out how much that would be. 200 divided by 4, so about 50. Because the limiting factor is going to be the lights, the signal lights. So 50 times 66 is 3,300 rails. How many are we set up to make right now? 1,000. These are probably fine at 1,000, so we can just pick those up as they are. Throw them in. Yeah, although we actually don't really need that many chain signals, because we're only going to use those on the roundabout, so let's just pick up a couple of them. And let this chug away. There goes iron. Is it just getting used up? Just want to make sure we haven't completely run out. Yeah, I think it's just getting used up for now. That's all the time we have for today, so I'll see you at the next episode.